Michael or Donna, Marianne, whoever has the book in front of them.
I got it.
What page?
15:1.
Okay, go ahead. Whoever. It
What
doesn't matter.
what page are you
ev-
on,
ev-
Marty?
Every seventh year you shall practice remission of debts. This shall be the nature of the remission. Every creditor shall remit the due that he claims from his fellow. He shall nor dun his fellow or kinsman, for the remission proclaimed is of the Lord. You may dun the foreigner, but you must remit whatever is due you from your kinsman. There shall be no needy among you, since the Lord your God will bless you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you as a heredity portion. If only you heed the Lord your God and take care to keep all instruction that I enjoin upon you this day. For the Lord your God will bless you as he promised you. You will extend loans to many nations, but require none for yourself. You will dominate many nations, but they will not dominate you.
Okay.
Marty, what page are we on?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Marianne.
What page are we on?
Oh, okay. It starts on 1440.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, hi, Mary. Bye, Mary. And here's Norm.
Yay.
Oh, hi.
Hello, Rabbi.
Hi, Rabbi.
Good morning, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Sorry, it's a
Shabbat shalom.
new laptop and I have to get it working correctly.
Ah, so it's good. And did you reduce the no, it's outside. It's whatever is coming in through a window. It changes
Is it too glary? I'll
No,
close
no, no, not
close
at
the
all. Not
blinds.
at all. It's just me. Anyway, we're starting on Deuteronomy 15, verse 1. It's through and uh, we read through the end of verse 6.
Wow.
Mm,
Now, hi.
15, 1,
Hi.
yes. So, welcome back, Rabbi Mary. Okay.
Hello, Rabbi Mary. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, uh, any thought? I'll tell you what. Why don't we reread, Michael? So since we had the two rabbis come in at this point, why don't we reread verses 1 through the end of 6?
And what chapter?
Oh,
15.
chapter 15.
That's it. Thank you.
so we'll start with 15:1, Marty.
15:1.
Yeah.
Again,
Oh,
so just so since the rabbis just joined us.
yeah, that's okay. Every seventh year you shall practice remission of debts. This shall be the nature of the remission. Every creditor shall remit the due that he claims from his fellow. He shall not dun his fellow or kinsman, for the remission proclaimed is the Lord. You may dun the foreigner, but you must remit whatever is due you from your kinsman. There shall be no needy among you, since the Lord your God will bless you in the land that the Lord your God has given you as a heredity portion. If only you heed the Lord your God and take care to keep all this instruction that I enjoined upon you this day. For the Lord your God will bless you as he promised you. You will extend loans to many nations, but require none for yourself. You will donate to many nations, you but they will not donate.
Dominate.
Oh, but
Dominate.
they will not donate to you.
Okay. Any discussion, comments?
Yeah, there's always these numbers in Hebrew in the Torah, and there's got to be some meaning to it or whatever. But with this, every seventh year, it gives the person who owes the 7 years to collect whatever the debt may be. Was the thinking behind this that if they would have been able to pay, were able to pay, they would have within that 7 years? Is that the thought behind that? Or I'm just wondering.
All right. I'll let Rabbi Roman
I
chime in
think
right now.
it's a good question, Donna. I think it's more of a twofold thing. One is the notion that seven, which is of course the magical number, God chose the world to be established at seven, whatever. But that every 7 years there's a reset.
Right.
Okay, economically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, that every 7 years is a reset. And then the other thing is that they didn't want it to go too long because it would start to affect the self-confidence of those who were in debt, or the workers, if you will. There's a comment that I had noted earlier, just drew my eye right away. Most of this chapter is concerned with ensuring that they're not emerge in Israel a permanent underclass.
Right.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So much of the economic structure as they were developing, again, remembering what it was like in Egypt. And, so anything that would get them away from a permanent sense of indebtedness and a permanent sense of slavery. There were always whether it's a loophole or whether it's a procedure or a blessing from God and a commandment, mitzvah, that there would be this reset.
Good. Wow. Thank you.
I read somewhere also that that a lot of this repayment for those people. What do you do with someone at the last, towards the end of the seventh year, who just is taking a loan out at the seventh year that's been designated?
Well,
And
it's
I
big.
read that there were cases brought before the baked in to try to balance this out, and it didn't necessarily exonerate someone, who to not pay it back in some way. So it's a very interesting issue that must have come up. I don't know much more about it. I'd have to go and find a book on
There's
it.
a whole section of Talmud about it.
Okay, could
Yeah.
you, if you
No,
could, okay,
much
okay,
too detailed
because
and
I'd
whatever.
have to
But it's the recognition that both from the standpoint of the borrower as well as the lender. I mean, if
That's right.
the lender's not going to give the borrower the loan, knowing that in 6 months it's going to be wiped off. So
That's right.
how do you do business that way?
That's
Yeah. I was reading in our little footnotes in my book, and it does specify it's not for everyone. It's not for the shopkeeper. It's not people who are in business. It was for the poor.
Yeah.
because they're remission for the benefit of the poor. It does not cover all time.
Yeah. I just listened recently to an old podcast that I listened to just about the issues of, I wish I remember the details, but it was a discussion on that. And as you say, Diana, there were differentiations of who can do that or not. Isn't this norm connected with the Prose Bull?
Yes,
Somewhat, yes, right.
yes. You want to expand on that, Rabbi Mary?
No.
You're in an area that
You
we hate to talk
Complete
about. Right,
sentence.
I
right.
just got up. What do you want, Marty?
Well, this was at the time of Rashi, apparently, that this entered into the writings, I guess, in the debate, what should be done. There's very little to say before, over the years before then, except that it implied what do they call it? Prosbus or something like
Prose Bull.
prosbus?
The
Bull.
Prose Bowl.
And it's what is it? Before before oh good golly, I just blanked on it. Is it before the law or before business? Or what? Oh, good golly.
Okay, so you want
Yeah.
Rabbi AI's explanation?
Yes, please.
Okay. The Prose Bowl is a Jewish legal instrument established by Hillel the Elder to bypass the
Hillel.
Torah's rule of
Okay.
Shemitah. That's this what we're talking about, the sabbatical year debt release, to ensure that lenders would continue lending to the poor, preventing economic hardship. It works by transferring a lender's outstanding debts to the Beit Din, making them public debts for the whole community rather than private, thus exempting the poor from the mandatory cancellation at the end of the seventh year.
Wow.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Because the reason you don't want to embarrass people. You don't want to mention the names before the court, things like that. So you need a very broad thing. It would be very easy to say there are some people that I can't, that cannot pay back the money that I lent them, and I transfer it to the court, the community. But that's what I don't understand. What would happen at that point? Is the community
Public debts were not subject to the Shemitah.
okay?
But
Okay,
there was
some
another, yeah, now I remember some of that. It depended what was the loan for. There was a differentiation. If I have a business, as you mentioned, if I have a business and I want this money to increase the money that I'm going to make, there is a difference if I have
Right.
that, or I need the money to pay for the surgery of my son. So that was, now that in my fog it's coming up, which makes a lot of difference, and it's a very lovely way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
they also had to later on, and Marty, this may be what you're thinking of with the Rashi stuff. Later on, they also had to expand it to include, when they talk about a public debt,
Right.
they use the example of taxes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So that your indebtedness for taxes for the public welfare wouldn't be canceled if you hadn't paid them yet. Okay, you're still
Right.
obligated to pay for the public welfare in that sense. And incidentally, the payment had to be made or the transfer, the Prose Bowl, had to be done in Elul, so that Rosh Hashanah was again
Right. It's
a
just
clean
before the
start.
holidays. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a very interesting thing. Now, you may be more familiar with these types of events. There's always going to be the
Schnur?
schnorrer,
The
The
schnorrer.
right,
snorer, yeah.
who is going to, uh, you know, continue asking for leverage and like that. What did the court say eventually with that? I mean, that is, you know, what happens in
That's
that
in
situation?
Tractate Schnorrer. The- I
You
don't
know, well,
recall
I don't
hearing
know if they
about
did or not. But a community also knows there's Joe over there who he's always doing things, asking people for this, asking people for that, and he doesn't pay anything back or anything like that, and he expects it. How did the communities handle that? I don't
they
know.
stoned him. No,
Oh.
Every problem has a solution.
Right. I don't particularly know, but they may some community. Yeah, I'm sure some communities handle it one way, some handle it another way.
Yeah.
Some of them, I'm sure, just used as the foundation point of that give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. That's
That I mean
that, and that's
that's
when
the
you're
majority
giving to
feeling, right?
charity.
Yeah.
Today we give to charity. That's sort of like paying it to the community to help these people. And it's all these are just different aspects of it. But yes, it does. So you can see that charity and the indebtedness and how it was handled and like that was a very important concept.
Yeah.
They may have thought that if everyone participates according to the mitzvah,
Right.
according to God's word, that there wouldn't be any schnorrers. There wouldn't be any poor. There
That's right.
wouldn't be
You
any
because you
schnorrers.
do
There wouldn't,
you.
right.
That's right. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
So it's but it's an
I
Yeah. Go ahead, Donna.
Oh, yes. Well, upcoming, I was curious about the foreigner, Dun, D-U-N. I don't know what that means, Dun.
the
D.
foreign.
Oh,
What, what
to dun the foreigner.
You
Right.
may dun the foreigner, but you must remit whatever is due from your kinship. What does that mean?
You could
verse is
still
that, Donna,
expect
please?
payment due. It says only for the Israelite community.
So they are
What?
still in a contract with.
That's right. So if it's a person from another nation or things like that, that's borrowing money,
Yeah,
another
it
group
come
of
the
people.
the Hebrew comes from the word to approach.
What
Yeah,
verse is it?
tigosh, lo tigosh, or et anochri tigosh, like eshet. So yeah, it's to that
Lotigos.
you can approach, the foreigners debt, in other words, is not included in this system.
Right. By the way, this is very much like in Islam, they do this same type of lending to people in need in a community. I don't know if they have the like every 7 years the debt has to be paid back, or I
Right.
don't know that, but I do know that they in their community they do it. But if they loan money to someone else, they can do it at any interest rate they can, and they will continue to do and expect payment. But I don't know how the community handles it. I just don't know.
Yeah,
Yes, Michael.
yeah. I don't know all the details, but I believe the Chabad, they lend out a lot of money,
Yes, they do.
and uh, they ask for donations
Mhm.
around the holidays. of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, they don't take money. That people are allowed to come in without any tickets. They don't sell tickets or anything like
Right.
that. And so they, like I said, I don't know all the details, but they are quite known for helping with money people. I know
Well,
that.
I think in our congregations too, Michael, there is a call, uh, when you give donations, you can give to several different places.
Funds,
And
yes.
one is for the rabbi discretion,
Yes.
that. So it exists today well, at least in the congregations that I attend.
Yeah, it's a very important concept. And this way it also involves anonymity,
Yeah.
which is a very important concept. And but I think it's worthwhile to do because some people may not be able to pay dues. Some people may not be able to buy clothing for themselves, the medical expenses, food, whatever, and they need that extra boost, if you will, and it's a good way of doing that. I've served on some committees in past years for that, and what you see is you don't forget those individuals ever. What that required assistance and like that.
Yeah, it's done in private and
Yeah,
secret and private, as you say, to avoid embarrassment.
right.
People can go ahead and function without any guilt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so that's that I believe is very critical because to embarrass or especially to humiliate
Oh,
and people in the Jewish religion is it's a sin and it's a very bad practice.
Mm.
no,
Negative,
I
very
think it's
negative,
very,
negative
very important.
practice.
Yes. Very good, Michael. Very good. So, it's little things too. And now that doesn't mean as an individual you can't treat people or do things or make individual donations or things like that. But this was one way of taking care of it.
And it's also under the umbrella of tzedakah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
righteous behavior.
Yes. So I think it's very good. Uh, it's
There's
righteous
my,
behavior. I'm going to add one word to it.
Go ahead.
It's righteous behavior with humility, not saying I'm better than the other person. Okay? It's something to still treat them as an equal. That's just me.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, that's when you get into all the sub definitions, like Maimonides' ladder,
That's
and
right. That's right.
things like that. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to move on just to and
Sure.
with one. This is a homiletical kind of thing, but in verse 4,
Mm-hmm.
you
Go ahead.
know, so Moses says, okay, so if we do this, there will be no needy. Like I said, they wanted to make sure that there was no lower class kind of thing. Then the Lord your God will bless you in the land, right? Okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the it makes you think of the priestly benediction, the threefold benediction. May God
Sure.
bless you and keep you. And here they mean specifically that God will bless you, that your society, the people will be prosperous. That's the word.
Right.
Those are the words of the commentator, which leads back to, again, in the priestly blessing, that God will God will bless you and keep you So bless you means you'll be prosperous, but what's the keep you? The keep you is not keep you safe. The keep you is to keep you with Marty, like you were saying, like with to keep you humble. And to keep you from guard you from letting the prosperity and the affluence become the guiding factor of your life.
Hmm.
And that it ties together, like I say, it's homiletical, but that it ties together that way.
The driving
And
force.
remember what the rabbi, I'll call on you in a second, Michael. Remember what the rabbi said, because we're going to come up with another instance, okay? And it's a very important consideration, okay? So, but it's a little different. It's said in a slightly different way. Yes, Michael.
Yeah, I was just going to say the driving force of one's life.
Oh, okay.
What do you
Wh- Is
mean, Michael?
is which value?
The one you were just talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That if you are blessed, don't let those blessings be the
Driving force of your life.
right. Good. Mhm.
This kind of reminds me too of the manna bread, where the greed, it was like you can only gather it now. And they thought they could stockpile it, but no.
Didn't work.
They had to have faith that they would be provided with the food. It kind of reminds me of that story.
In a way, that is a very interesting way of putting it. Yes.
I just want to point something, and this is my very personal way of thinking, that if you have good values and you behave nicely and you are do tzedakah, etc., you're going to have a land, the land of what we call the promised land. What the meaning of being into the promised land means. That for me is like when we talk about the Mashiach who will come, that the idea of a promised land, and not to think about concrete land that you're going to inherit, because otherwise it doesn't make much sense, If you behave nicely, I'm going to give you some territory, or I'm going to. The promised land is the promises that I gave you as a people.
Wow.
But as I was saying, it's my very personal way of thinking, especially when we're talking about things like what we're talking about now. Don't allow the poor exist in your midst. It's your responsibility
That's right.
to
That's a
help
very
them
important
out.
concept.
But yeah, and as I said, it's a very important concept to think about what's the reward that you're going to get for being a goodie. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a good person.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the catch, because if you're doing it from that angle, it's
Right.
not what that's about. That's about your pride. And
Correct.
and I was reading last night, there's the different, the top one of giving is to give, not let anyone know about it,
Right.
not even let the recipient know who it came from.
That's
And that eliminates a lot of the ego, and that
You got it.
truly is humbling, because there's that part of me that wants the attention, so
You're right,
part
Donna.
of me
Yeah, you're right. When I came to this country, and it was on Yom Kippur, or when the board, the chair comes and talks about contributions. And then later on, I mean, all the contributions given in this country to the synagogue or to whatever it is there, you have a plaque and you announce and so forth. And people explain to me why they do that. I still don't appreciate that, but that's in my mind, Donna, against the business of giving without telling who gave. In Purim, for example, that we give baskets of stuff, the mitzvah is to put in front of the door, ring the bell, and run away. So they don't know who's giving you. Yeah, that, the giving without expecting a reward or knowing who's doing that, because you do the mitzvah for the sake of doing a mitzvah. Yeah.
And you don't want them to think they're beholding to you. You know,
Exactly.
that angle too.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah, I owe you.
yeah.
That's good. So remember this discussion for a little later in this morning, okay? Because we'll be coming back to it, yeah, probably in a different way. Any other comments before we move on?
Yes. What
Yes,
about
go ahead, Donna.
what about the nations? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he has promised
In verse 6.
yeah, you will
Yes.
extend loans to many nations, but require none yourself. You will dominate many nations, but they will not dominate you. That's very powerful. So, but you don't want to be beholden to them too. Okay, you helped us out here, we'll give you, and then we're kind of caught.
Mm-hmm. So any other comments there? Rabbis, you probably have served in other communities, and this probably has come up in Torah studies before.
Yeah.
Because domination seems to be a very powerful word.
Right.
Are you
What is
inviting a current events discussion?
Not
Is
well,
is, is
whether
that
it's
is that
current
what this
events
is?
or I know you can do it, but I'm uh, but from the standpoint of the congregations, this type of when with Torah studies, I'm sure it has
Well,
come up.
let me put it this way. Yes, yeah, the notion of Israel as a dominating nation has certainly, been part of many discussions, and there are those, both in the political and in the religious dimension in Israel, for example, pre-October 23,
Hmm.
who said, okay, where we are, the startup nation, that we are the envy of the world in the way that our technology, in the way that we have, such high employment record, in the way that the affluence is spread out. There was a big, have not. But again, from the religious point of view and some of the political on the far right wing, and saying this is God's will. This is exactly the way that these verses prophesied, if you will, that
Hmm.
we will be so prosperous, we will be so so strong and whatever, that others will be coming to us. Think of how many African nations, came to Israel asking for help, whether it's financial, whether it's scientific, whatever. They saw this as a perfect illustration of it.
And when I would have preferred like a word, softer word, like influence.
You're very sweet, Marty.
Because,
You
excuse
know.
me, I didn't hear that. I didn't
I
hear
said
you.
that you're sweet.
No, no, but the reason I say that is that there are two ways you can look at it. It's no different than when we spoke about giving us the power to have dominion over nature. Basically, we'll have dominion over all the animals that God has created. No, maybe it's being a caretaker. Maybe it's to be an influence rather than to it's the same thing, what we've been chosen for. By the way we do things and everything else, that would be a reasonable way to live with less what should I say?
Oh,
With there would be more of a concept of sharing rather than and giving to others giving you when you're in need, things like that. That it would also expand outward. So that's why I try to wrap my head around it, and maybe that's what that way of thinking would become prevalent in other nations.
maybe this will help you. It says dominate, meaning economically.
Well, that's the way we look
So
at it.
dominate.
Yeah,
economic-
yeah. But there is, I just have to point it out, and maybe it'll resolve a little bit of the uneasiness. So the Hebrew word is mashal or mashalta, would translate it here as
That's
you'll
what I'm
rule over
looking for.
or have dominion over. Okay, but there's a secondary meaning to the Hebrew word,
Okay.
and that's to serve as an example.
Oh, wow.
I rest my case. Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
good.
Okay. Okay, a mashal is an example or a parable.
The fable, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're not, we're making the assumption that the the meaning of the phrase in verse 6 was definition number 1 of that
Right.
Hebrew root. But it leads us in an entirely different direction.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Cohn.
Thank you.
If it's meaning number 2.
So I just find it interesting. So maybe there should be a footnote somewhere about that
Oh, I'm sure there is.
in some version.
I didn't just think it up. Let me tell you, that
Listen.
right.
I'm just very happy that
I'm sure that I don't have it in either of the books that I've got in front of
yeah.
me here, but I'm sure that there are that you shall serve an example as an example for many nations.
And that, by the way, that's one reason. That's what we're chosen for. That's the example
Right.
we're supposed to do.
Right.
Not to dominate, not to do things that we're not, individualized and said, "Oh,
Well,
we're
it
it."
depends on which
That's right.
prophet you're talking about.
I
So
know, I know, but it makes more sense. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Who else would like to read? Thank you, Michael, for reading. That was a very important passage.
Oh, you're
okay,
welcome.
I'm just gonna throw in
Sure.
that the most important word here, or not the most important, but an important word, is the first word of verse 7.
If.
After we just talked about what we talked about,
Mhm.
the Hebrew word is key, which might be if,
If.
it might be when, it
Ah,
might be because, it might be thus. Okay.
okay.
So,
That changes a lot. Well, that dovetails into
of
what we were just
course,
discussing. That's right.
yeah, right.
Thank you. Uh, any other comments? Or who would like to read?
I would like
So
to,
how does
Okay.
how
Great
does the
debate.
Before we go on, what was your question, Michael?
yeah, well, how does the world look upon Israel today?
Well, depends on who you're talking about, I guess.
It, and
Generally,
correct. I
in
was
a
going to
general
say,
sense, how does Israel look upon the people of the world look upon Israel today?
You mean the state of Israel or the people Israel?
In a general sense,
There
the
is no
people, the
general.
Jewish people, the Israeli people. It's in a general sense. I'm asking, how does the world look upon Israel today? We had October 7/23. The world is blaming. Much of the world is blaming Israel for that, and the Hamas said we're going to do it over and over and over again. They did that. They said it over and over to actually put the blame on Israel. That's why they did that. That's why they said we're going to do it over and over and over and over again. It was a way to put the blame on the Jewish people, on the Israelis, on Israel. How can they do that? How can the rest of the world be blind like that? And look at the United Nations Security Council. How can they, do what they're doing to the Jewish people? How could that be when so much good so much good comes out of that little strip of land, and it's incredible. How can they get away with that? How could God allow that to happen?
Well,
When I'm listening to all of this here and reading it, and I don't understand some of it, and my ability to concentrate and to comprehend is not good anymore. But I have to ask this question.
that could be an entire course.
Right, I know. I always ask questions that's going to take a year and a day to answer.
Because the
And I'm not sure
answers
that we would
are-
have all the answers at the end of the year either.
That's right.
Probably not.
And it's a very you raise the right questions, but it's hard. Just when you think you've answered one, you find another one that is another question to answer, and so forth. So, but that's why I say that it's a very important series of questions that you ask. But to do that is going to just I would recommend a separate discussion group on that
Yeah,
because
I know that.
there's
But
no
then,
answer. There's
yeah,
no solid answer.
then people are envious of all of these things
Yeah.
that the Jews have accomplished, and that's a problem.
Okay. It is. It is.
From
That
the from the
Okay.
very beginning, it's not a new problem, and that's where history kind of.
I know, but we're dealing with it right now. So,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm bringing up. It's always been that way, and today is probably worse than ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm sorry
Marion, I'll
to.
let you have the last word if it's on this topic because it's going to take us away from the Torah study.
Yeah, I think a lot of this has to do with personal pride and ego. There's always going to be poor people. Elon Musk is not going to knock on my front door and give me a couple of $1 million. Okay, it's just that simple. But
He sure knows your address.
I'll send it to him right now.
He's not the only one. You have Google and a whole bunch of
Right.
others. They know exactly what's going
Yeah,
on.
it's relative to how you see richness and poorness.
Yeah.
It also has a lot to do, I think, with the person's pride and ego.
Yeah.
What's the difference if I can afford to only donate $10 as opposed to somebody who can afford to donate $1 million? Are we still doing the best we can, or are we trying unrelated to anybody else's watching or opinion, or are we doing what's massaging our pride, our ego? Look what a good person I am. I just gave $1 million away. What's the difference? I think a lot of this is more personal in how we relate to other people. And like Donna said before with the manna, If you don't thank God for what you have, you'll never be thankful for what you get. It doesn't matter how many millions you have, because you're not grateful. You're not seeing God as the source of all wealth, physical, financial, material stuff. So I think this goes a lot deeper than just pay back the money or don't pay back the money.
Right.
That this is a very deep personal topic, because money apparently has driven societies forever. And I think that's something that personally each person has to look at, is their relationship to things, because then we make it an idol. Is my $10 or my $1 million my idol? So I think this is much deeper than just pay back the money and with or without interest.
Yeah, but
Has
the
anybody
guy
told-
with the $1 million gets a tax deduction, so that's why he's given $1 million.
Oh, and I thought it was because he loved me so much.
Anyway,
Does the IRS know about any of this?
hold that what
Marianne, I
what
just,
Marianne just
Martin,
said, and
just-
what Donna mentioned, and like that, it's
What-
going to
yeah.
come up later in our
well,
discussion
actually,
again.
Marty,
Yes,
it
Rabbi
came
Mary.
before, and it was a very beautiful part of it. When they build the tent of meeting, the money that it's required to the building is separated in two ways, Marianne.
That's right.
One is that you give a shekel, everyone gives so and so. But then there is another way, and this is written, if you believe the written word. Kasher idvenu libo is as much as your heart gives. And you can say give because he has, or give because he believes, or gives whatever. But there is an acceptance that people give what's close, as you call it, personal, to a community cause. So I think that it was addressed, and I'm just finding fascinating all the monetary issue that we encounter in the Torah and even more in the Talmud, that things like that were considered. So you give what you need to give, like taxes, but you also give what your heart allows you and tells you to give.
Hmm.
I think it's quite an interesting thing that exists.
That's good. Okay. So let's read on. And
Yeah, I wouldn't mind reading on now.
okay, verses 7 to the end of 11.
Okay, thank you, and I hope my microphone is better now.
It is.
And remember the word if.
If there be among you a needy man, one of thy brethren, within any of thy gates, in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shut thy hand from thy needy brother. But thou shalt surely open thy hand unto him or her, and shall surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Beware that there be not a base thought in thy heart, saying, the seventh year, the year of release is at hand, and then I be evil against thy needy brother, and thou give him not. And he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin in thee. Thou shalt surely give him, and thy heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord thy God will bless thee in all thy work, and in all that thou puttest thy hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt surely open thy hand unto thy poor and needy brother or needy sister in thy land.
Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
So
yeah.
the question is this God saying, excuse me, is the God saying, or the narrator, the biblical author saying, the reality in your society is that there will always be those who are poor? Or is this just a rephrasing of the mitzvah? Make sure that there aren't. This is just further identifying the people's role in ensuring that there aren't. Is it just that's the fact of life? There will always be poor, or don't let it happen.
Hmm.
It's a good question. I'm going to let everyone else.
Yeah,
I
okay.
said a lot already, so I'm going to let other people have a chance first.
Could it mean that keep your heart open to tzedakah when necessary, because we don't know. We don't have a crystal ball into the future about who's going to be wealthy or poor. So I'm looking at it that way, that to keep your mind and your heart open to doing the right thing, and that is tzedakah when necessary.
Okay. Yes, Marianne.
I'm getting a little confused here. Part of this sounds like personal responsibility to me, and part of it sounds like social responsibility to me. I can't possibly afford to make every poor person not poor. And by whose standards would that not be poor? I mean, do you have a tent, instead of living under a bridge? Do you have a house instead of living in a tent? How big is the house? So there's just a lot of things in here, but I can't personally right every wrong in this society, but I can right the wrong within arm's distance, to my fingertips. I can do something about, but I can't do anything about fixing and saving and rescuing the entire world. I just don't have that power. It's not up to me.
And also in the Jewish religion, as I understand it, one Jew is supposed to help another one when one is in some sort of a situation or a bit in trouble. It's there's a connection there from one Jew to another. Very, very important that Jewish people stay connected, and one Jew is supposed to help another, not hurt, but help.
Right. I mean, Marion, it's definitely that you help. You're the obligation or the mitzvah is to help one person. Okay. On the one hand, there's two teachings. On the one hand, um, that each mitzvah that is done leads to another mitzvah.
Right.
Someone sees you doing it, they're inspired to do it also. It makes you feel good. You'll want to do it again and again and again. So it's mitzvah goreret mitzvah. There's that each mitzvah that you do for one person, it leads to another. And the other is you do it for that one person because who knows, like Rabbi Miri would say, that one person may be the Mashiach. And that one deed of kindness and support may redeem the world.
Hmm.
Oh, it'd be nice to be a part of that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's why we said before, if everyone is in a giving mode rather than a taking mode or using mode or things like that, the world would be a better place. I think that's the bottom line to this type of discussion. And I think that's why there's so, when you think about it, we're not finished with all of this concept of tzedakah. This here is also tikkun olam.
Oh, yeah, repair the world.
It is, because you can see the development right from this attitude that we'd always want to find, if we see something that isn't somebody suffering, somebody needs help, whatever, that you're going to be there to assist. Somebody falls at the bus stop, you're there to help them just to get up or to see what's going on, and rather than just walking away and not getting
Well,
involved.
when I fell down a couple of weeks ago, Marty, many people came over to
Yeah.
talk to me and get me up, and I was glad that there were so many people shopping at Walmart. I had plenty of people come to my rescue, and it was very.
Yeah, but that's true.
And they were talking to me, It's not only that, but they were they were genuinely concerned, because I hit my head, and they got me up. They asked me how I feel. They asked me if I want to get an ambulance. They just didn't pick me up and walk away.
Right.
All of that was very, very important. Their concern was not only to get me up, but to talk to me and to support me.
And that's really by getting involved in these things. I think that all of this discussion easily comes out of this. That it's better to give.
Yeah.
Somebody once said that it's better to give than receive, something like that.
Depends.
But for me, it doesn't have to always be. It's not just always about the money. It's about what you were talking about and with Michael.
Yeah.
I try to stay aware when I'm out walking the dog, just being aware of my environment around me. There's seems to be these opportunities that come up,
Yeah.
whether it's helping someone with groceries. It's there. It's always there, an opportunity to help, and even if it may be a kind word at the grocery store.
Sure.
Just I try to stay in that state of mind, but I'm not perfect and we don't have to be. So, but yeah, it's amazing how often that will come up during your day where you're at the right place at the right time.
Mhm.
May I would
Sure.
like to
Go
say,
ahead, Michael.
thank you, Marty. To Donna's point, I'm very often I talk to people and try to help them if I can. So I was shopping at Walmart some months ago, and a man was putting some very heavy bottles of water in the trunk of his car, and I asked him, "Can I help you?" And he says to me, "You think I need help? Well, I don't need any help." So listen. So I just walked away, continued to go to the store, and he ran after me. The man ran after me, and he says, "I'm sorry. I, uh, I'm so sorry that I said that, but I want to thank you very much for wanting to help me." So sometimes it takes a second thought. Most people will just thank you. Once in a while, you'll get somebody, uh, you know, the luck of the draw, so to speak. You get someone who sees it maybe a little differently or whatever. But this gentleman, he ran after me and thanked me, and that was actually a, a very, very big deal. I saw that as a big deal because he changed his mind, and you're allowed to change your mind, I suppose,
Sure.
in those circumstances.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, any other discussion on this? If not, who would like to read?
Reed said he wanted to read.
Sure, go ahead, Marianne.
No, I don't. I
You would
thought the
read
Reed wanted to read.
verse 12 all
Oh,
the way
yes.
through the end of 18.
Okay. If a fellow Hebrew man or woman is sold to you, he shall serve you 6 years, and in the seventh year you shall set him free. When you set him free, do not let him go empty-handed. He furnished him out of the flock, threshing floor, and vat, with that which the Lord your God has blessed you. Bear in mind that you are slaves in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. Therefore, I adjourn this commandment upon you today.
Hmm.
Did you say the end of 15, Marty?
Yeah, go to all the way through the end of 18.
Oh, okay. But should he say to you, I do not want to leave you, for he loves you and your household and is happy with you, you shall take an owl and put it through his ear,
Mhm.
put it through his ear into the door, and he shall become your slave in perpetuity. Do the same with your female slave. When you do set him free, do not feel aggravated, for the 6 years he had given you double the service of a hired man. Moreover, the Lord your God will bless you in all you do.
Okay. Any discussion? This is a repetition and just wording it differently of what we had in earlier in earlier writings
In
here.
Exodus, but
Yeah,
in Exodus it was only for a male slave.
right.
This is now male or female.
Okay, I was good. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I was going to
Go
make
ahead,
it,
Marty.
but it's not a good joke. Anyway, any comments here?
Well, it's how you treat people. A slave is a human being, and it's how uh, one treats another person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, it's you can treat a slave with kindness and understanding to make that person believe that that's really he or she is not a slave, but at best a servant, but being treated with loving kindness and understanding, and and that's why it says at the end of 7 years they don't rather not leave. You would want to leave if you were treated in a harsh way. You'd want to get out of there. But if you were treated with a decency of kindness, who knows what's out there after I'm maybe I'm better off here. Maybe the grass is not greener on the other side. So you know it's a situation like that, I would think.
Okay. Yes, Rabbi. Thank you, Michael. Yes,
Thank
And
you.
Rabbi.
even this slave who goes through this particular ritual and saying, "No, I want to, stay with my master," et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In the 50th year, the Jubilee year, it goes free.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
with like um, uh, proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all the inhabitants thereof, and liberty and all, underline all, even the slaves go
Now,
free.
now, is this for slaves that were taken in combat from another land, or was
No,
it
this is Ivri.
These are Hebrew slaves. These are Hebrew.
Hebrew?
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And it's mentioned more in detail in Exodus. I see 21 too.
Mhm. Right.
Yes. Yes, Rabbi Mary.
Uh, the notion of freedom is it's different what we see today and what was seen as a notion, as a concept in the past. That's my thinking. And I've read, I don't know if you've read the book Horse by Geraldine Brooks. And I was in and it has to do with Black slaves. And at that time, this person didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay. And the people in the group that were discussing could not understand how a person wants to continue to be a slave, because the notion of freedom is very strong for us. Now, we as a people, if you recall, when we were marching in the desert and it was probably hot and whatever, we says to Moshe, what have you done? In Egypt, we had onions and we had garlic and we had this. We would have been better there than what we are now. So the notion of being free did not play any game there. It was the very concrete stuff. Michael mentioned that. Michael, maybe as a slave, he was treated well. He had food, he had a shelter, and so forth. So the notion that we understand or we don't understand why this person doesn't want to leave is different than it was then. I mean, for people to want to go back to Egypt, we said, well, are they crazy or what? Or they don't understand that situation. And they were slaves, let's say that we believe 400 years. So why didn't they do anything about that? It's a difficult question when we judge what's going on here versus our priorities and concepts and ways of living.
Yeah. Reminds me of my rabbi in Palm Desert during Torah study. The questions like this would come up, and he would always say, "Look, you have to remember this is historical. This is what's don't come in with your modern day. Well, we can, but you have to remember that this isn't freedom, like you said, doesn't mean the same thing to us."
The land of the free.
And the brave.
Yeah. Yes, Marianne.
A lot of times, I had a very interesting person tell me one time, freedom is in the mind and the heart. Concrete walls, barbed wire, life sentences, none of that has anything to do with freedom. It's the mind and the heart that need to be free. That the other stuff, I feel very blessed. I was coming out of Walgreens and there was a homeless guy there and he wanted to help me put things in the car, which was very nice of him. These other people came out of the bank. Now, the homeless guy did not know these people at all. They pulled up to him. They gave him $20 and they drove away. And he turned around and said to me, who had just come out of the store, was getting into an air-conditioned car, "Hey, do you want me to buy you lunch?" I said, "No, thank you." But to my mind, to my heart, to see this guy be blessed by a total stranger, and then him turn around and want to share that blessing with me, I thought was incredible. I mean, the homeless guy looked like he could have had breakfast and lunch with that, but instead offered to thank me. But to do something for me. So I think seeing other people's blessings is a blessing in itself, that when we bless someone else, we bless many other people along with them, not just the one person.
Yeah, the freedom that you're talking about is something that, I don't know if you read about Viktor Frankl.
Yes.
That talks about that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
We got to approach the awe.
Yeah.
The awe. That if they want to stay, they can stay. they love their master or whatever, and I guess that was a way to mark them. Why would they want to physically, or did they physically mark them in the ear to let other people
Yeah.
know they could not
Mhm.
take him
Yeah.
or her?
It's like branding.
Yeah.
It's a
They
good way of
belong to
putting it,
me.
but
Yeah.
you can look at it from that standpoint. By the way, do you know what an all is, Donna?
Yeah, it's got a point to it. And you pound it.
Why? What does it do? You got it so
Like
far.
a nail sink. I don't know. It
Not
Takes
to
a
nail,
hole.
not to nail, to punch holes into rock.
yeah, like
Mhm. Yeah.
they're different sizes.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, Cobblers will use
Show
it as
people.
well
Yeah.
as people dealing in leather goods. Okay, any tough
Shoemakers. Yeah.
hide needs to have that pointed, and now it can come in different shapes, but that's what it's for. You can, if it has a flat end, you can use it to drive a nail in, if you will. And they do sell those devices too to to handymen like that.
Mm.
But yeah, and so it was like a symbol of,
Mm.
but it also was a way of saying, okay, you're now you're spending the rest of your life this way.
Mm.
I don't know if people got a second chance to change their mind.
That's almost like adopting them and just this side of marrying them,
Yeah,
that you're making that strong of a commitment
yeah.
to a
That's
relationship.
why Rabbi Mary used the idea of branding.
Yeah.
But if we remember very, very long time ago of reading, the one that was branded in his head to be recognized was Cain.
Yes, the
Oh.
mark of Cain.
Well, if you're talking about the branding for identification, you throw in circumcision at the same point too.
Sure.
But that's community one.
You know, Marianne, there
Yeah.
was a rabbi, I think it was maybe Rabbi Schneerson, I can't be absolutely sure, but he was giving a dollar bill, handing a dollar bill to people,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right. Whenever
I
they
can't,
came for right. Mhm.
That's right.
yes, he gave a dollar bill to all of these people that came by, and to see what they would do. And it was really it was a lesson. It was
There's also the notion that anyone, and I have friends and people who do this all the time. Anyone who's going to Israel, you give them a coin. Doesn't matter what denomination. Give them a coin that that's as a token of tzedakah of charity, because then they're on a mission.
Right.
They're on a sacred mission. And God protects those who are on sacred missions to go to the Holy Land. Right.
So these are secondary, things that as we talk about different ways it can be done. Okay, we still have some time. Any other discussion on this topic? All being none, who would like to read verses 19 through the end of 23?
I'd be happy to do that if you'd
Thank
like.
you, David.
Okay. All the firstling males that are born of thy herd and of thy flock, thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thine ox, nor shear the firstling of thy flock. Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year, in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household. And if there be any blemish therein, lameness, or blindness, any ill blemish whatsoever, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean may eat it alike, as the gazelle and as the hart. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof. Thou shalt pour it out upon the ground as water.
Yeah. We're back to the gazelle and the deer.
They could have picked a few other animals, but this was okay. Anyway, any comments about this? Thank you, David.
No.
Well, what now? If the flock is going to be, the firstborn, there's you're going to eat it annually and like that. Wait a minute, it just said
No, you don't.
the
You're not eating the firstborn. You're sanctifying the firstborn.
sanctifying it, yes,
Right.
but
But
but it says you and your household shall eat it annually before the Lord your God in the place that the Lord chooses. Um, so it's a designated, it's a sacrifice in a sort of way. But what about your own kids? The first born male. What's this?
It's Pidiona Ben. It's, yeah. It also belongs to God.
That's right. So God takes the firstborn, but what is it we can do in its place of giving up the firstborn?
Money, money, money.
Go
well,
ahead.
money,
Why don't
money,
you
money,
expand on that, Rabbi Mary?
money, so that the Levites can afford to hire workers to
Right,
replace the firstborn who would be going into their employ, or as
right.
apprentices. But yeah, right.
Apprentice, plural.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had that, and as the rabbi was mentioning, there was a sum. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up again, but whether it was a shekel.
It changed with inflation through the years.
Yes.
Right.
The worth of a person.
But
I just
this was
want
a
to
way
mention,
to
Marty.
save not the
Yeah,
animal, but to save the human being.
yeah. One of the things that we need to remember is that if the firstborn was born like my son through a cesarean, it doesn't count.
That's right. That's right.
So I didn't have to
It's
give him up.
only if it's only if the newborn opens the womb, literally,
Right.
Yeah.
okay, and is a male.
Now,
Isn't that? I think that's very interesting.
now
The way that they are born to decide if they are kosher for the Bet Mikdash or not.
now here's a question based on medical practice. Not all babies are born head first, and sometimes because they're not coming out head first, it's going to be a difficult delivery, and a cesarean section is done. But suppose it was a little bit of the head showing. Suppose it was a foot that came through. The womb was being opened.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the discussions when a human is a human. Uh, and that's
Yeah.
problematic too.
Viability,
Right.
right? And at that time, it was defined, not anymore, but at that time it was defined as a majority of the baby's body.
Okay.
It didn't have anything to do with can it breathe on its own or
Right.
anything like that. It was if a majority of the body has emerged from the birth canal.
Which is different of other religions today. All
Yeah.
the discussion, you know, when a human is a human.
Mm-hmm. And it depends on which group that you're dealing with, and
Yeah.
there's no this goes back. There's no easy answer. That's all, and it leads to all kinds of issues. Uh, uh, any other comments about about this section that we just finished? What about why is it that if there's a defect or blindness, lameness, uh, you do not sacrifice that uh, animal to God?
You wouldn't bring a defective gift or tribute to the leader, to the ruler.
Right. That's right.
You know,
That's a
so.
simple answer. That's right.
Mhm.
But there is a norm later on, the issue of testifying that also cannot be Baal Mum. I think it was about blindness, isn't it? That the blind person cannot testify or a deaf person. The issue of purity here is really crucial. It
Yeah,
needs to be.
yeah. Well. One is like you say is purity, and the other is legitimacy or authenticity of the testimony.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Any
So,
any other discussion? So anyway, uh, I think we this is a good place to stop. We have because then we're going to shift over. And I made a mistake. We had already covered what you're to do rather than going with what to do with your money rather than the animals to market or things like that, that you had to wrap up your money. We had that. Do you remember that, Rabbi?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Marianne. Okay,
yeah.
because I
Okay.
know. And there's one thing that I just wanted to mention that I forgot. So we had already had part of this discussion, and it talks. Why does the Torah have to say wrap up the money?
Has to
Okay.
say what? I don't understand.
It suggests that we should always wrap up our money so that we may rule over it and not it over us.
I think the impression was that you're not constantly being reminded of how much money it is.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, that's what it's
Right.
the concept, and that's a. Uh, I just thought that it was an interesting. It sort of like dovetails into what we were discussing too, and it really points out as Marion was saying, it doesn't matter how much, and if you think about it, I know we've been using Elon Musk as our example today. You take a donation of $1 million versus a donation of $10 to a poor person. That $10 may be an awful lot of what from their income. If you think about it, versus the $1 million, as Donna was saying, from somebody who's wealthy. Yes, Rabbi.
Yeah, I just in following up on that conversation, the trend among Jewish synagogues and congregations, nationally, if not internationally, is to move away from a specific, dues structure into
Right.
this biblical pattern of Asher Yidvenu Libo that like Rabbi Mary was talking about, or true motalev of gifts from the heart. Of,
Right.
of obviously it creates a difficulty in deciding and how you budget, not knowing how
Right.
much people are going to give, but Jewish institutions, many of them are starting to feel much more comfortable with that notion and that approach. If I may, Marty, I have to relate a story.
Sure.
All right, it's a little bit of a dilemma that we encountered over the last 2 weeks. So, remind you, I was at this convention of the retired Reform rabbis, mostly North American, but a few from Europe and Israel. And in one of the services, there was a one of the important services and ceremonies. The text had a long quote and reference point from the teaching of Rabbi Sachs, Jonathan Sachs.
Jonathan Sachs.
Right, whom we know well, and Marty, you quote him frequently, and whatever. Okay, we had a follow up from the Canadian Reform rabbis who said strongly that we should not have quoted Rabbi Sachs. Why? Because when the leader of the liberal, that's Reform and Conservative, the leader of the Reform and Conservative, the liberal Jewish community in London, when he died, his name was Hugo Gryn, Gryn. When he died, when Rabbi Sachs was the chief rabbi of Great Britain, Sachs wouldn't come to the funeral
Okay.
because it was a liberal, reform, conservative
Right.
rabbi, and hence the reform. I don't know about conservative, but the reform rabbis of Canada have boycotted Rabbi Sachs's name because they took it as a shanda, as such an and it led into a very, very interesting discussion, yet to be resolved, but a very, very interesting discussion amongst our group, the retired Reform rabbis, of how do we approach teachings and quotations, and whatever from some of the names of these scholars whose wisdom we respect, but they may have done certain acts that either were, contradictory to us, or I'm losing my words, but I think you got, and it was a very, very interesting kind of thing. So maybe that's another one of these discussions of, is it still appropriate to learn from someone who has literally personally negatively affected you or your colleagues, your profession, or whatever it might be. So we're not going to reach our group is not going to reach a resolution within the next month or two, but I just wanted to let you know that was going on.
I would always err on the side of something that, because in the Orthodoxy, they do not recognize the other branches as being truly Jewish.
Many, not all, many.
That's right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, in other words, so he's still being true to his faith, the way he saw it. That does, in my mind, it doesn't, it hurts that he wouldn't be there. But at the same time, I have to still respect his wisdom. So
I hear you.
that would be the way I would look at it, that
Okay.
he was true to the way he saw his faith. It
Mhm.
would be the same answer he would give if somebody was serving bacon and eggs at breakfast. It would be the same thing. Trave, not going to have it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's still being true. But so in my mind, I have to make some room for that understanding of, and the same thing
Gotcha.
if it was somebody who's Islamic or somebody who's Hindi or whatever, you have to make a little room in your so you have to do some more reading so that you can
Right.
learn to
Okay. And
accept certain things.
I'm not sorry that I
Yeah.
brought it up, but I am going
And
to
by
have
the
to
way,
leave. But
congratulations,
thank
Mr.
you,
President.
Rabbi. It was Daniel or his father, Shalom Hartman,
Yeah.
has a book that's called the Room with Many Chambers.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. It's that kind of thing is okay.
Mhm.
So if you don't go through this door, go through another door. But as long as you're still in the house, you're still
Absolutely.
in the room.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's right. It's a good one to
Yeah.
get.
Okay.
Yay.
And I will say
Thank
Shabbat
you.
Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom, everybody.
shalom.
Thank you,
And
Marty.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
thank you,
Marty.
everyone,
Marty.
for
Thank you,
teaching me an
everyone.
awful lot today.
Yeah, the best to Susan.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Thanks.
she's has some extra, issues that we have to deal with too.
Oh, really?
Well, we wish you
Yeah.
the best, Marty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I can, I'll let her send a note to you.
Okay. All right.
Mine
We'll be
too.
we'll be in
Okay.
And
touch.
you too. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Marty.
By the way, thank you for your notes and like that. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Anyway, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
Have a great week.
Thank you very
And,
much.
there's
Yeah.
more to come. We're going to have lots of entertaining discussions. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Shalom, everyone. Bye.